Hey everybody, KC here. So a morning news beat reader sent me a link to a blog posting written by Seth Godin. And I think the reason he sent it to me was because there's a lot in here that actually sounded sort of familiar. But I wanted to react to some of it because I think a lot of it is relevant to the stuff that we talk about all the time here on Morning Newsbeat. And the subject is the future of retail. And he starts it off by asking, what do traditional retailers own or control? The building, the inventory, the relationship with vendors, data about who is shopping and how they shop, and trust with vendors, customers, employees, and landlords. And then the point he makes is that when retailers move online, the things that they used to own are either eliminated or transformed. Now, I have to say, and I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about when he says transformed. The fact of the matter is, when it comes to data about who is shopping and how they shop, in fact, when retailers move online, if they're paying attention and they're collecting data and they're collecting actionable data and then acting on it, in fact, they should have better and more information about what shoppers are buying and how they're buying it. So that's one way in which actually going online helps the retailer as opposed to hurting the retailer. Retailer still has the building, although the building may not be a traditional, retail space. It may be a dark store, it may be a ghost kitchen, it could be any combination thereof. They still have the inventory, but they don't have to actually display the inventory necessarily in the same way. Relationship, trust, all that kind of stuff, that's pretty much the same. Although when you think about it, again, if you have more data, you can actually anchor that trust and develop that trust in new and exciting ways. One of the points he makes as well, though, that I totally agree with, he says that when many retailers, in their eagerness to compete on price and their focus on selling things that everybody else is selling, let me repeat that, in their eagerness to compete on price and focus on selling things that everybody else is selling, they end up failing to build much of anything. I totally agree with that. The problem with so many retailers is they're not competing around the edges where they actually can be different, but in fact are competing on the same items and on the same playing field that everybody else is competing on. One of the things he says is that retailers have to take advantage of the privilege that they have to not only deliver anticipated personal and relevant messages to people who want to get them, but have to develop the ability to work with customers towards something better. If you do those things, that's the heart of the future. But that so many people are busy spamming, in his phrase, about, this week's specials or this week's promotions, that they forget to do that stuff. And I think that's an entirely fair approximation of what a lot of retailers are doing. Not every retailer. There are a lot of retailers out there who do a really good job in terms of when they start to develop more of an omni-channel approach, they understand it gives them opportunities. Yes, does it create challenges? Absolutely. But it also gives them enormous opportunities. But boy, I just keep coming back to that line, right? In their eagerness to compete on price and focus on selling things that everybody else is selling, they fail to build much of anything. Boy, if there's a warning shot for so many retailers, that's it. Can I get an amen? That's what's on my mind this morning. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.